Oxygen pretty recently on here, and also Team Liquid too. They both brought us something okay. So we're gonna just do that. Neil, I'm going to ask you what you make of what we have just seen on the side of Team Liquid. I'm hoping that you have the Agent Select in front of you as well.
Yeah, I don't think they'll pick Euro, but I think, like I said, I think they're gonna run with that same comp they did yesterday. When they played FPX, you know, it's strong. They've got all their bases covered, and he looked very, very comfortable on it. And like I said, I think if Oxygen don't go for a Sky, it's going to be pretty easy to deal with, I think, for Liquid.
And Lothar, yeah, Cryptics are locking in the Viper there.
Super happy to see that, like, really Haven. It has also a lot of potential when it comes to post-plant lineups, but I think the problem with that, like, people just kind of panic that it's too strong. We don't see that often in the pro play, because the attack on Viper is basically you cut off corners, you check corners with your snake bites, or you just hold off the post-plant to not get pushed while you plant. So you don't really have the snake bites most of the time available, unless someone else does that for you, right? So if there's no defense set up, and you just don't fight for your side, then that's gonna happen. But otherwise,
the extra depth, taking up that Killjoy. He's going to be doing it again here as we go into the pistol round, and Team Liquid on the defense. They're going a little bit aggressive to start things off, but you wouldn't expect anything else from Yampi. He's got his knife out though. He doesn't think they're pushed up that quickly, and the opening duel goes to Oxygen.
This was the thing I worried a little bit. Like, you have this composition that works so well versus FPX, but I don't think Oxygen are going to respect the utility in the same way that FPX did. Already just bypassing one of the initial nano swarms, Yumpy going down, who's normally someone who's actually, like, given over a pistol in these rounds to try and do as much damage as he can, and they're already looking to try and fight onto Scream. The one tap's not quite coming through, but he's not backing away just yet. He's actually going to try and fight over the wall, and well, that battle's not gone great either.
Yeah, the headshot angle he hoped would give him the advantage, but, well, nothing comes of it. And the snake bite, it only serves to delay the inevitable. Oxygen grouped up outside of this side as Team Liquid rotate in. They've got two on site looking for a fight. They need to get the info. Have these guys rotated? I mean, they could be halfway to C at this point, and Team Liquid have given up all control of the map. But they're soon to realize that this push is coming right towards them, and Sulcus about to swing and try to trade out his teammate. There's a couple, and Sulcus does it all. It's all left down to Zistow, the big player for this team in the past games they've played. He's got two players swinging on him, though, so there's nothing he can do. A 4K coming out from Sulcus to save the pistol round here for Team Liquid.
Yeah, what a recovery. I think it was mentioned by Neil as well on the desk that they have these players that can just act as a rock, and, well, Sulcus being on the Sky was something else he mentioned, and both have already come through in round one. When are we getting this guy back? Like, can we just make him a permanent fixture? Because the two things he predicted have already happened in round number one. But yeah, I think you have to look Oxygen there and go, okay, that's a round you need to be taken. We talk about momentum, we talk about getting right out of the starting block. It's not gone great, and now they have to go for what is, well, not exactly an eco, but just a few extra pistols to try and make this as costly as humanly possible.
Yeah, just dealing the damage is the name of the game right now. I do love the arc that Sulcus has been on, right? He had a terrible set of series over at First Strike, and that was back in December. Then all of a sudden, this turnaround has been there. Since that event, you've seen the hunger to prove himself as a top player. He picked up Sky. He's been looking fantastic there. And even here from Liquid in that pistol round, the protocols, right? They lose Yampi early. Okay, Scream's going to try and recover it, take the long control. He dies on the headshot angle. Now what do you do? Well, Cryptics plays close, and then you've got Sulcus ready to trade him. Like, there was always a plan there. They went down to the C plan, and eventually that got them the win. It wasn't just, oh, we're two men down, let's go fight, let's go try to take duels. They were trying to, you know, push themselves into the biggest advantageous position they could. And Link, I'm sorry, but you're in a bit of trouble if that nade comes through. Looks like it's not going to, though, as they just back off.
Taking their time in this round, trying to pick a few players off. As I said, just making this one cost is going to be fine. It's actually Spectre's invested into every single player on Liquid. Now, we know that one of the things they really like to do, especially on this map, is build up that extra economy. Make sure that when Yumpy is purchasing, he's going to have an operator in his hand. So I assume the next round is going to be played as almost a pure bonus. Just try and steal some of those weapons away. And if they can cheese their way through the round, that'll be fantastic. I will say that we sort of almost talk about Fnatic's comps on some of the maps, for example, Bind, as quite a ratty comp. Like, you're sat back, you're playing the after plants, you're almost doing something where like, oh, really? This is what you do? I would say that Sliggy has managed to outdo them with this comp, because their whole job is just to delay, to try and make things awkward. And the thing that I question here is, are we going to get Oxygen just disrespecting all of the utility they put down? And if so, will that work for them?
And you know, you'll think about it in a lot of ways, like, oh, Link, Cryptix, Yampy, those are the ones with the post-plant utility to stop you, right? But then Solkas has those flashes for info. He's got the Wolf to just, obviously, or the Tiger, to go out there and find information, slow you down. And Scream, of course, he's got a wall. He's got slow orbs. It can be really tough to fight up against that. And headshots. He's got plenty of those, that's for sure. That is for sure. Look at this start. Slow orb to backside with a nade, but no damage. You can see Liquid are being conscious of this utility setup from Oxygen and playing to the right side of the site. There's 3 players rotated into position, but Oxygen, they love to sell those fakes. They'll look for the early duels and aggression, but if you don't give it to them, if you don't play the game that they want to, they're happy to then start playing it slower, take the information. And as you can see, they're still going to have presence towards C and middle, waiting for aggression to come down. And when that doesn't happen, it's the A site they've got their sights set on.
Yeah, the worry though is Mitas has no stars. So they have actually used all of their utility going into that C site and then just got delayed. So they're running into this one almost dry. Link within the smoke though. He's not going to get anything. They'll take a little bit of decay as they go pushing into the site, and Scream is going to be waiting. Just mowing down 3 as they tried to enter A. The spike dropped to the floor and only 20 seconds to try and rectify things.
So smart from Scream. He dodged the recon bolt now. Coming into 12 seconds left. Zistow tries to do something, but there's nothing to be had here for Oxygen. That is a demotivating round, you know? Obviously, they did want to go C. They put out all their utility. Nothing happens. Nothing goes their way, and they're slowed by Liquid's util. They decide, okay, you know what? It's fine. We can play it slower. We can go out on A. They get the duel. They get a lot of progress towards the site. The only part of that site they couldn't see, with the exception of Short, was that angle right there. The recon was clearing everything. Hell and that angle. And Scream comes out with 3 kills from it. That's just sickening.
It is the Scream factor. It's the reason he's highlighted on every single desk. Even at this point, it sounds like a broken record. And that's about as bad as it goes, because now the economy is going to be built up early for Liquid. If they do inevitably lose a round, they'll be able to get the operator back in and everything changes completely. I've really loved a lot of the setups we've actually seen coming out from Yum, because it's sort of like the 1 kill, fall back, and then I have all my utility to deny them pushing onto me and closing me out, which that's the main thing you want to be doing a lot of the time with an operator, is just basically making sure you trade them at least, like get rid of that star player. And he's just been denying teams from doing that, or most notably FPX from getting rid of him, especially on that B site. Now, for at least the moment, I was going to say there's not really any presence from Liquid on this side of the map. And the stars being placed, it looks like an all-in take. But now they've already got players waiting.
They got the info with the bird that went out. The flash Link gets 3, but okay, Glove, that's a good start. Spike drop in the open, not so much. They have only got pistols, so as we said, damage is going to be what they're looking for. Swapping out of the one-shot headshot weapon. Maybe Toronto can just pull 1 more kill his way. It's unlikely he wins this round, but he'll take any little advantage you can get at this stage. Clearing it out, he's going to go in for the plant, or actually, of course, a fake. Because although we can see that the players are not going to push him down and they're spawn in heaven, he thinks about his flank, and that buys them enough time to eventually muster up the courage to rush him down and kill him. 4-0. Liquid, they are looking so clean right now. We need to see Oxygen return something of their own now that they have a buy round.
The first one definitely didn't go to plan. And the thing is, like, you have to look at the way they're having to try and face off against Liquid. Every time they run through one of those screens, they're 50 HP off worse. Every time they go through, the cloud on the other side of the map is exactly the same. So we've got the wall covering off 2 points. You've got the cloud covering off the other. So they're always taking some sort of damage. And that's not talking about any other agents that are currently in play for Liquid. So that's what I talk about when I say that they're willing to disrespect the utility. It's like, is that actually going to work for you? And then are you comfortable, like FBX were, to try and execute in the last, like, 15 seconds when you've been able to burn a lot of that down? By the looks of it so far, the answer is no. as again, they are setting into what looks like another A take, destroying Scream's ice wall to try and garner a little bit of extra space. But again, now just a smoke falls in their face instead.
Toronto's almost on his last mag with over a minute left on the clock. He's gotta be a bit selective on what he spams from here on out. He just broke the wall one piece at a time. Obviously just trying to sell a little bit of fake information, posture towards that A site. But for Team Liquid, especially when they have your Sky to gain information, like they don't have much control outside of A and C in terms of players, but they have their turret covering B. They have their alarm bot covering in towards Garage. So there's not a whole lot that they have to be terribly scared about. And here, a small detail, they even flash into Garage to clear it and then pull the alarm bot back. But this is where Zistow can get dividends if it wasn't for Cryptics in the corner. They'd already started to rotate as well. They were like, oh, he's on C, Graham. No, he's dead.
They've tried to sell the fake on Liquid, but again, with how much utility they have to slow them down, Liquid are more than happy to just wait until these pushes come in. They've even got the orbital strike to shut them out. Cryptics is destroying them! Another triple kill coming up for Liquid, and only seconds left on the clock for Toronto to try anything. They didn't even lose a single player, Mitch. It's 5-0 for Liquid already, and I'm already scared for Oxygen.
Yeah, Oxygen are running into utility, right? They go down towards A short. Oh, there's a wall. We'll break it away. There's a smoke. Okay, let's go back. Viper wall. Okay, maybe we go in through Garage. There's already utility there. They tried, in the meantime, to get control over the C site. Lost their player. Committed to it anyways with a Garage split. And that went to hell with the orbital strike. Every single piece of utility being used here for Team Liquid is annoying Oxygen on another level. This is beautiful play on the defensive side so far.
I will say, I don't mind the idea at all from Oxygen. Like, the idea of trying to almost sell an all-in take and have Zistu to try and come in from behind and just catch off what they would expect to be only one player. The chancer, if you see all of the stars play, smokes popped, you're going to expect there to be players towards A. It's logical, but the fact that there were actually still 2 players on the C site from Liquid, they've not fallen for anything thus far. The reads that they've had have been spot on. We know they're a team that has the players behind them, the coach behind them, that's going to be putting in all of the research. So I feel like Oxygen have to be... they have to hit a peak almost with the mind games if they're going to bait players off the site.
Let's see what they're going to be doing. Oxygen looking set to run straight into Killjoy utility. Look how much there is. And not only that, there's 3 players now with that flash popping because Sky's going to start to mosey on over. Out goes the Tiger to clear it out through the wall. Well, no info, but you're still hearing 3 players shooting off and using utility. The problem with causing rotates to the B side, Tom, is that generally you're not going to get a lot for it because they can quickly rotate into A, but the rotates take a long time. Apparently this time around, they're slow. And so Oxygen, they're getting out onto the site. The wall's even blocking off the one player they've got on short. Link able to isolate a duel, but now, what do? They're going out for individual fights. This is exactly what Oxygen want. The wall goes up to slow them. Even a Cosmic Divide, they have to be aware of behind as Link gets his teammates to run on through. They cover every angle, all their bases, and again, 1 player lost. I mean, that looked very good. The chaos is where Oxygen can thrive in a round like that. But Liquid, again, managed individually to come out on top.
Well, I think even the reaction, I think every time we see the toxic screen actually go back up, it not only gives Link cover, but again, you're seeing these players whittled away as they try and enter the site. And because they've been playing multiple players on B in a lot of the early stages of the round, as you mentioned, unless you're killing off Link very, very quickly, someone else is going to be there and he's going to have someone to play off. And the way they have the combos of their extra piece of utility has made things very, very difficult. Now we're going to see the orb challenge for this time. Even a couple of players up on top of the wall. Mittez has got to be careful here. Bear in mind that the Astra is playing with pretty much all of the utility for their side at the moment, or at least the more impactful in terms of smokes, etc. But this time, he has got away with the opening duel, and something we haven't really seen much from Oxygen just yet.
What I'll say, quick point on this, Yampy invested into an operator, right? Full utility, bought up armor. The rest of the team are max money. So, and he's now, I think, 700 credits. So someone probably could have dropped that over. It's a tiny detail, but it can make a difference in the long run. We'll take a look at this backside push, which has gotten them complete B control, but bypass the Killjoy utility, which is slowing them down, dealing damage. Cryptic's even using his util to grab himself a kill, and spamming through the smoke. That's dangerous now. Oxygen back into a 4v4, despite such a good early start from him.
Yeah, that was even off the investment of a res as well, so to lose an extra player is already going to be rough. Cryptics is just on an utter tear, looking for more victims as the peak comes out from Mittez, though, giving them an advantage. Yumpy trapped out, Soulcast looking to come in from behind. They'll know where both players are and are just trying to hold within the site. B is definitely not the place you want to be when it comes to these afterplant scenarios. It can be tough to hold on. No scope from Yumpy. Go listen for both. The Finn is just going flashy at this stage, and what is that? A ridiculous retake. He didn't even need his teammate in the end.
He didn't even need his scope, Tom. That's unbelievable. 7-0, and in that fashion, everything went their way. They started out, they get the B site, they res up, man advantage. It's taken right back. But hey, it's a 4v4. It's still doable. And Mittez pushes inside a Hunter's Fury. That was so smart. The last thing you expect is this guy to be in here. He almost uses it as cover as he runs through. Whether intentional or not, the reaction play in the second worked out for a double kill. And for Yampy to pull it back like that, it's just, it's got to feel terrible if you're the attacking side. Still looking for that first round to get one on the board, Tom. As we come into round number 8.
I've worked it out. So
what is it?
Basically, he asked Sliggy today, is like, am I allowed to like play shotguns like I did when I played Fnatic? So he was like, look, guys, we need to win this. It's the qualification. We got to try and get through. And so he's just decided he's going to play the operator as a shotgun instead. It makes perfect sense. Like you can't tell Yumpy what to do. And while normally we talk about how Oxygen, they're actually pretty good with their pistols. At least make things costly. You spoke about the amount of finances that have already been built up for Team Liquid. Well, how about a flawless round?
Yeah, that'll help. They lose a couple of players. They're like, yeah, I feel like max money though. Let's get right back up there, and the credits, well, they are flowing in. As you see, the full investment here, very little had to be reinvested into. Leaves them pretty for pretty much the rest of this game. This was a real brawl, right? Around that mid control, they're looking for every fight they can get. Saw Yampy get in there with a wall bang right at the start. And 8-0 on the board. Oxygen, they're stalling right now. They're not feeling good.
This is the map they chose as well. Like,
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they are a prominent Ascent team. I think Turkey have proven throughout this EMEA qualifier that they are very, very competent at Ascent, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure Liquid are 12-0 when it comes to Ascent at the moment. The reason that they're happy to pick into that map, so this is looking very uncomfortable. And as you mentioned, like now they have to deal with the operator as well, which seemed to be almost the clinical factor when it came to their defense versus FPX. We're going to see the Viper ult thrown in as well, which not only makes pushing through long almost impossible, but gives extra positions for Cryptics to hide. Soulcast alongside him is actually just going to start fighting. And they've got the opener once again, but just look at the rotations from Liquid. They're already on C. However, this time, Oxygen have actually managed to make them rotate. The problem is, have we actually seen them clear out Link once throughout this match?
And he's swapping up position, right? They're going to ignore Short completely because they don't want to deal with him, but he's tucked over in the corner still. His teammates are going to be late to rotate. He needs a lot! And then look, he'll get 3 kills! Oh my god, Oxygen, every time they have a chance, Liquid snatch it right out of their hands. This is just unstoppable stuff. 9-0. They just can't catch a break, Tom.
I think that they're in their own heads at this point. Like, it's exactly what you said. Like, Link has played in that sort of short sewer spot for the majority of the round, so they see that screen go up. They go, okay, well, we know where he is. And the one time that Link changes his position, he gets 3 players. Like, this is almost at the stage where you have to look at Oxygen and go, okay, that's unacceptable. You need to be getting a better trade from that point. Now they're going to end up with a pistol in the mix. More aggressive C take seems to be on the cards. Already, with the stars falling, Snakebite going to be pushed through, and they've somewhat been separated. A couple of players pushing in, but they have managed to isolate the jewels. Mittez again, but just look how fast the trades are.
They keep on coming, but Link on the backside, he's low HP, and he still gets away with 3. Come on. 10-0. Oxygen, they're really starving at this point. They want anything. They just want that one round. Just give them something. And the thing is, you know, a lot of the things they're doing are the completely right decision. And I feel like with this composition they're running, going through those Viper walls, you think about how we saw, for example, FPX deal with it yesterday. They would have their Phoenix flashes to pop on through and try to take those duels. You'll see a lot of teams have the Sky that you'll pop the flash, and that kind of discredits anybody holding the wall. But right here, Oxygen, they don't have that luxury. They're playing a comp that doesn't allow them to flash in. You have to play off the info. And sure, if your Sova is managing to hit that recon and reveal them, great. But we saw that backfire where Scream got away. Was that a leg shot? Turbo's 5 HP. I didn't even know. I thought it was a miss.
I think you need to learn by now, Mitch, that Yumpy doesn't miss. If he does miss, it was a warning shot. That's all we've learned so far today. Now, the one time they have actually managed to get an after-plant position, they did head into the B site. But the thing is, there's just been a response. We've got Sage in the form of Scream. You still got all the utility there from Yumpy. Rotation being quick from Soulcast already to try and garner some extra control. And they've just been placing this early utility down to allow Link that extra space. And also it means he can keep his Sky Smokes, which they waste a ridiculous amount of time unless you're just going to be pushing straight through it. By the time we actually see them go towards this site as well, there's so many players here. Like, they've got a second, a third rotating. This is looking so easy for Liquid.
They have it all figured out, man. There's a shot coming out from the Sheriff that's so quickly dealt with. 11-0. Every time they attempt something, they're just getting wrecked. And I mean, I think the best example really was the round that they had the Viper ult on C. You saw Oxygen. They drone it out. The drone doesn't catch any info. It's such a long ultimate in the position that it had been put down by Cryptics that the drone came through. It ended up disappearing before it could clear outside of the ult. Then they go to site. They get the kills. They have the openings. Okay, things are looking good. They've got control over the C site, except for the Viper who's stuck in. Liquid rotate. They go back. They sell the fake. They get the A site, which is one player, and Link just destroys them all. Every single time that they make the right play, they're getting just wrecked individually. But hold on, there's a little bit of a change. Yappy, he's lost an opening duel. He's gone down. Here comes the lockdown as well for the C side. This is going to force them into the back. And I like the attempt. I like the counter, rather, of popping down the ult, pushing mid to catch them on the way and Scream. Oh my God, man. Headshot after headshot. 4 kills on the board, and Oxygen, it's the last round of the half. They thought they had it. They dealt with Yampy, and so that was surely the round going their way. And Scream comes through to ruin their day. Toronto's even naded himself, and Scream aces it out. A headshot wallbang to put 12-0 on the board with the ace. That pretty much sums up the whole half, doesn't it, Tom?
I want to go home. Like, this was meant to be the qualification match. It's a 12-0 half. Like, Scream, come on, man. Like, he's already booked his flight. I'm telling you now. It's just like, well, I'm not wasting, guys, I'm not wasting my money. Like, it's already paid for. Like, I've got my flight booked. What is this? He's just running down mid and killing everyone.
It's
this means we're gonna have to highlight him again. Like, as if we don't do it enough, we're just gonna. Yeah. By the way, guys, did you know Scream's actually pretty good at Valorant? Like, I don't know if you've heard this. Like, a guy who's very good at hitting headshots is good at Valorant. It like. Unbelievable. And there's been so many things to bring up about just how they've been playing, how they've been denying space, how they've been slowing things down, but ultimately that's the epitome of this game so far. One team is looking at the peak of their form, the other is yet to show up.
Punishing an early peak, use lockdown. Lockdown gets countered. Okay, they try to rotate back. Someone aces the round. It's exactly what happened when they rotated A and Link shut them with the 3K. Well, let's see if anything goes their way in the pistol round. They are rushing out towards the C site. There's a nanoswarm there ready to slow them down. And they're just going to wait it out and push on through. They're not thinking about mind games or rotating. They're looking for fights right now. Oxygen, Zistow always told us they just want to fight well. It doesn't look like there's much fight in them, at least to start this one off. A 4 versus 3. Liquid, get the site, get the plants. And with this kind of setup, Tom, they've still got full post plants, and Yappy's behind them. Of course he is. This is devastating. Oxygen, they might just be going out 13-0. Mitez is doing his best, though, to make sure that doesn't happen. A side swipe from Cryptix leaves it all onto Turco. Low HP for both of these players. Turco taking some point-blank shots from a turret. And he's going to rotate around, but the time is ticking away. He has to clear these angles, and they are ready to just swing together. Oh, Turco, he'll have to hit some nuts shots to get away with this one. There's the first. And no, on the side, Cryptix gets it done. He was left on 14 HP.
And see what the rest of the players are going to be picking up. As we have already discussed, Scream and Toronto back on agents that we've come to know them for as of late. And so far, at least on the side of Oxygen, Ryan, no surprises.
No, I mean, if there was anything to pull out, I think they would have pulled it out by now. The thing I suppose they need to be careful of is Team Liquid like to push very aggressively with Yampy and Scream. But like I mentioned before, Team Liquid from then on like to slow the map down. Plan, you know, with 30 to 15 seconds left on the clock, Oxygen need to have a good early, mid, and end round if they want to take on Team Liquid here. It's all looking against them. I've no doubt that people have written them off at this point, but this is a great map for them to pull it back. But everybody needs to show up, and Team Liquid looking really threatening right now. 1 foot in the door to Iceland.
And since Liquid actually is playing the same lineup that they played 6 times in the past 20 matches so far on Ascent, I just wanted to point out that on Ascent they actually play on attack, because we didn't see a lot of rounds from attack from Liquid so far, pretty late. A lot of rounds are just being executed in the last 30 seconds, maybe sometimes even 20, and that is very interesting because they do split the map control. They like to play it, let's say, pretty evenly. Like there's a lot of defaulting in the beginning of the rounds, and they just try to dismantle the first death, which crumbles. And
they are more comfortable on though. I almost wonder if they picked Haven to try and shift the direction of the veto so that they would get these as the first 2 maps, maybe feeling a little bit less comfortable after playing against Guild on Split. So I'm not going to sit here and say like I think it's going to be exactly the same. I do want to see if they have the mental fortitude though to be able to come back from such a devastating defeat and then say, okay, you know what, we're now going to turn things around.
Well, it certainly isn't easy, Tom. 13-0 is crushing, but at least you can just wipe it from your memory because it's such a short space of time. It's not like you lost a map after an hour and a half of battling. It was more like you blinked, you missed it. Now it's time to really see what you can do. Immediately, Team Liquid on the attack side are making pressure on the B side, but Oxygen aren't too worried. They've got a lot of control up on A. They have Cypher covering out for the flank into Heaven, and so they're comfortable to just continue taking these fights. With the fact that they've got a camera down inside Wine, this is a really, really good play potentially. If Liquid move towards this side, they activate the camera and then show Cypher peeking in from sight, they might not suspect that Mitez has snuck his way into that little corner.
Yeah, they have used this setup before, though. It was actually something I was going to bring up in the pre-show. This is a setup they like to use, leaving a player behind, faking the info. So if research has been done, maybe Liquid will know, but it seems like Midas, again, is going to get away with murder. He's dead, though. An easy trade. In fact, Scream just going to cook him in the corner, serve him up with a little bit of wine, but now they're walking into a stack.
Weird to put your Astra there, but 13 seconds left. They need to go, and Oxygen, look at that, Tom. They've got a round on the board. They did it. It's taken a while. But yeah, it is weird. A small thing, but putting Mitez in that corner, he has no escapism. Sometimes, yeah, you can see the smoke go down. Maybe you pull behind it to get you out if things really go bad. But if they start to pressure you like that, especially when they molly, that's where you want it to be a Jet, right? Get that dash out, and or even... obviously not in this composition, but where you'll see like a Reyna play there, or an Omen, for example. Someone who has the ability to get out without taking those heads-up fights, whereas instead they lose a lot in the form of Mitez.
I will say, I think that in terms of utility left to be placed, there was nothing left. True. So it's like, if anything, you've kind of lost someone who now can't really do too much in the form of his utility. So I don't mind it as much as if, say, he still had a load of stars remaining and he didn't invest into a ghost. But... nonetheless, we are going to see a bit of investment coming up. We know that on the defense especially, Liquid are actually quite likely to force into second rounds because they do want to try and get that operator into play. But for now, Yumpy's more than capable. That is really bad timing. Zisto needed to keep his teammate alive while he was in his astral form, and instead, they've just lost 2 players within the first few seconds by being in very compromising positions. And Yumpy's now won the 3rd duel.
And this is really scary because it's not like the other guys have Vandals, right? Like they'll come in with a huge advantage. And even if they did, they have to retake B. And even if they were able to do that, there's a flanker in the form of Link. And he's on his way up behind. Sneaky beaky, like they haven't got a clue. It looks like he's going to come on through the window, which might give it away. But it's just clearing out a lot of information for his teammates. They only have to look at Heaven. The turret's spotting them. Link not going to break the glass. But it looks like the round might almost be over by the time he gets there. That said, there's a lot of duels being lost. Their focus is entirely on the site, and they turn at just the right moment. Okay, Oxygen, they're back in this one. A 2 versus 1. The Ghost not able to do it, and Cryptic's up close. Oh, he gets it in the end. Team Liquid, they win out what is a very weak buy from them, but at the perfect timing, trading it back 1-1, now putting the economy of Oxygen in question.
Yeah, a really nice try from the remaining couple of players from Oxygen to bring that back from what was looking almost impossible. It comes down to 1v1. I didn't even think they'd come close, but the thing is as well, you almost have to look at those initial players and go, what? How does that happen? Like, how does it get to a point where your Cypher falls back into a corner, gives up the angle, and then you're dead? There's nothing you can do. You have to get out of that Astral form so quickly that you just don't really stand a chance. That is the main vulnerability when we talk about Astra. And while it seems like after what has been a couple of rounds where Liquid have gone for a hit into A, you can almost understand Oxygen's read of, okay, let's try stacking B. They found information into mid as well, but the rotation hasn't come through because it seems like they still don't know that this is going to be an A hit. And by the time Zistao comes out with anything, the round's basically over.
I mean, realistically, these guys have got to be able to win duels that they shouldn't be. They're up against rifles. It's nowhere near as easy as the previous round was for Liquid. The gap is much higher between them. And Solkis, he's just clearing his back. He's not going to push into Zistao and give him a kill. The timing, oh, look, he even fake steps away, runs back around the corner rather, and takes Zistao off guard. I expect, you know, if you get 2 kills here, you're going to be very, very happy. And already the first going their way. Okay, there's a Sheriff to play with, one on the site that's dealt with right away. And Turco needs a headshot to make it work, but no. Look, you're not expected to do much in that round. 1 kill, it's not great, it's not bad, it's just, it is what it is. You wipe it from your memory, you move on to the next round now that you're able to get rifles out.
Yeah, this is where we hope things will change a little bit. Of course, the manner in which Liquid actually won their round means they did invest a lot into rifles as well, so they're not playing this as any sort of bonus round, but they have still built up a relative amount of cash. Toronto getting onto that operator, though, this is one of the main difference makers. You're not going to see it massively when it came to the attack of the last map. He wasn't really able to deny a lot of the presence because Liquid were actually fairly passive in a lot of the plays they make. On the defensive side of this map, however, he's going to be roaming around mid. He's going to be looking to brawl. They said in the interview with Zistao that they were looking to fight, and while Liquid definitely looked to battle them in the last map, this is where they should feel a lot more comfortable, though.
Well, the operator of Toronto has been heard. A little bit of a trade-off as they don't fully clear out market with the drone being destroyed. And the reposition as well to cover them walking through gets smoked off. So Liquid evidently want to posture some control over market, but are they going to push into it? Because there's 2 players waiting for them to do so. You can see Glove has got a headshot angle there on the map towards the B site with his teammate ready to trade out or just add it up with him. Take as much damage as they can. I like the swap over. The one weaker weapon they had was in the hands of Scream, and they decide, being as he's going to be holding a fairly long range angle, it makes sense for him to get a Vandal. Short control going to be himself and Yampy, 2 very, very dangerous players, regardless of the weapon in their hand. We saw that when they had the Sheriffs in play. Toronto smoked off, won't be able to do anything. He's forced back. Now they've got the split they want. And on the site, oh, the timing caught them off guard. Solkis with the kill after the tag came through. Mitez wants to do something. That flash is so good, though. And Team Liquid, they just get a site control so easily. And the one opportunity to pull something back is a miss.
I almost wonder if that's the point where you just decide to save. Like you've lost a couple of players. You're playing up against a 5 versus 3 after plant. The retakes I've seen from Oxygen previously also have not been fantastic. Like they like to give this site up quite often, but without any utility really being remaining, I don't see how they get anything done in this round. And by the looks of it already, they've fallen into some exits. And Definitely a few opportunities. You see that TP actually really regularly come out from Angel as well. It's something that, even if he just gets cancelled, gives away a lot of the positions within the site. But that's a round that, again, it already starts to make me worry a little bit for Oxygen, because, again, in terms of the read, what? Okay. Well, there's the operator gone, Mitch. See you later. Soulcast is on form today.
You know, the point I was forming as well, and it still stands, is how good of a setup they had when saving these weapons. You had Glove in market holding mid so that nobody could push Turco, who was down in Pizza, holding, or actually past Pizza rather, the right corner of the middle arch to cover anybody pushing through middle to come behind and kill Toronto, which meant all that Toronto had to worry about was right in front of him. And with an operator on that range, the point was, it's a pretty great angle to hold. Didn't work out that way though. And I think as well, the decision-making of Oxygen, they knew immediately they were going to save that when it went to a 3v5. They just left it so that if Liquid wanted to overextend and give them a way back into the round, hell, they could, but they didn't. And now look at this push. Very early, very aggressive, and a rifle lost. Turco not going to be able to do anything about that. He has the res, but no opportunity to pop it off. And even a Spectre duel on long range grants them a lot of damage.
Yeah, not really the weapon that you want to have in those scenarios, but it almost just works as an alarm system. He may not be the turret himself, but he is almost acting as the same role, just trying to deny things. Okay, the crisp shots of Soulcast may have disappeared, at least for the moment, but Zistao again, 1v5, and what are you even doing in those scenarios? Scream, as said, I am pretty certain he's already booked his flight to Iceland, and he's just ready to get on the plane, because the way that he is playing, like, we know the level of Scream, but it almost just looks like he's had enough and has just decided this is over. 4-1. It's still very early stages, and we are going to get an investment once again from Oxygen. Toronto with his operator once more, but I don't know. Like, this doesn't look like the Oxygen we're used to seeing. I think they need one of those rounds that almost just gets you pumped up, like a hero play, someone to get the mood a little bit better, because thus far, they've just looked down in the dumps.
They definitely have. And, you know, one of the things I'll say when it comes to Team Liquid right now, that previous round might not have looked that... Oh, hold on. This is going to be a flash into the smoke. There's going to be a peek around. The turret doesn't see anyone. Oh, but the jump out from Scream's dangerous. He has his ult, and that's going to be popped. He farmed this in the previous round, and now they get a kill because of it. The damage he did, the aggression, the push through, the info as well. They know there's a player on the left side. It's going to be popped up with the Hunter's Fury to take Zisto down. Toronto recovers what he can. Turco wants to go out and take an aggressive duel. The wall stops him from seeing as they sideswipe out the left side. Scream's good for a double from that position before going down to a shock dart. And it's all on to Toronto. He's been fantastic in the start of this round, but now 2 shots need to be hit. And it won't be a Yampy-style clutch. He's got his knives in his back pocket, and that's what he wants to pull out, but nobody's challenging him. Team Liquid are going to make him make the first move. Oh, the updraft above. He doesn't see him. Just a pixel between them. That could have been Link dealt with, but instead the crossfire remains strong. And as he's seen, Toronto gets shot in the back pursuing his victim. 5-1. Team Liquid, they're looking just beautiful right now. And on every single front, individually, Scream and Yampy have been absolutely massive. Link showed up on the previous map for a bunch of massive A-holds, and it seems like every time that Oxygen gets some sort of foothold, they get around like the pistol, immediately it's answered back on. They get a couple of kills go their way, and it's either Scream or Yampy to just pull it back with 2 or 3 of their own and put their team into the advantageous spot again and again.
And that's the thing. We saw some of the earlier matches out from Liquid. It looked like maybe things were a little bit off, like they would lose some sillier clutches. Okay, well, yeah, you know, it's up against pistols. A little bit of style being thrown in. Nice shot from Zisto actually. You almost don't see that he gets a kill there, but he's been playing in through mid.
One enemy remaining.
Trying to get aggressive in this round. Not really a problem. But yeah, I think even just like the players that we don't necessarily highlight every single time, like you just look at the way that they play those after plants. The crossfire, no risks taken. It just looks like Liquid have been slowly but surely like improving all of the minor details of their game that we talked about as problems previously. And now are actually starting to look like a finished product, which considering the amount of time that they've had with Yampy is really scary. Because, like, even when we saw them like a week or so ago when they played versus Fnatic, sure, that game was mostly for cash and maybe a little bit of seeding, but they didn't look anywhere near this good.
One of the other problems you have to highlight is that for Team Liquid right now, they're playing an aggressive game, but not a stupid one.
Yeah.
Like, some teams will get the advantage. They'll feel like they're so much better, and they'll just start running around and basically deathmatching. That's not what's happening here. Liquid are tending towards more aggressive strategies, certainly, but that's what they should be doing. When you're owning the way that they are, absolutely. Oh, no! Toronto, he wants to find a bit of space, you know, go in for that right side, peek down B, get them the advantage, dash out of there. It all looks so good on paper, but when you run into Yampy, it looks very bad very quickly. Mitez holding up close as well, is in danger. No support here. He goes down. That's the utility gone out of the round. The Cosmic Divide that could play big into retakes. And there are 4 players. They're about to drone him out as well. Oh, Mitez, you're in trouble. 5 players here now as the drone comes in. But Mitez gets a double. Okay, that's worth it. Man advantage is now theirs. Ultimate's out of the game. They've taken down the Killjoy. The Yampy's not so much important here. But the lockdown, that could have given the A side for free. That could have granted them a free post plant. But now that Hunter's Fury can be used to try and find more information, stop the push, and gain them a foothold on the round as they push up behind. This is huge for Oxygen. The best they've looked so far. Closing it out will be difficult. They need to avoid giving fights until Zistao makes that big flank. But Turco, he got a little bit greedy. He saw that tag come through and felt the kill was his, but it wasn't. Glove distracting the shot from above as the swing comes out, but it's only good for a single. Now Glove has to clutch it. They know exactly where he is. 15 seconds, they can safely plant it. No utility to deal with them. The Hunter's Fury, everything he had was already used in the early round. Here's an ult from Scream, a headshot, but he still has 2 players to take down. And with 23 HP, being tagged up by that recon, there wasn't a damn chance. 7-1. It's starting to feel really, really scary for Oxygen, Tom. This is a team that has beaten the 2nd best in the region, the best in their region, overcoming Footballers for what was definitely a huge milestone for this team to make it to where they are now. And now they've got 1 round out of the last 21.
Yeah, I feel like if you say it like that, it doesn't sound great, does it? No, they are in a rough spot. I don't think there
is a way to say it. They're 100% on pistol rounds in this map, which is good.
Yeah, that's a good sign. You know what? They're pretty good at the attack of this map. Yeah, they're looking out of it at this stage, and I think even in that round, like, they're making all-in plays, like very risky plays, like the push all the way through. You can see that Liquid are more than prepared for everything they're attempting, even expecting players to be close, and Mitez still manages to get away with 2. This is a better start, though. Glove, finding an opener. Now, you look at the weaponry that they currently have. It's not great, but they do have a few ultimates available to them. Maybe this could give things away. Soulcast, so crisp, though, to take down Mitez, and there's going to be a response almost instantaneously as it turns things into a 3v3. The lockdown place to try and hold them back, and Zisto is going to be watching. He's going to find himself 1 even still, but the remaining players are going to have to back away.
You know, in a normal game, this is a very, very good round, but I'm gone past caring about damage done to the economy. You know, with these pistols, they've managed to get a lockdown in play, but they need to do more. They need to get around on the board. They need to start upsetting Liquid because they're maxed up on money. They're feeling good. Got to put a spanner in the works, and well, we'll see if that's going to happen. Yampy up close with his ult in hand. You always believe in him in this position, and this might just be why. The trade even comes in when Turco hits that Sheriff shot, an 8-1. I mean, yeah, say what you will about Turkish teams on the attack side in general. Certainly Oxygen on this map. But if you're only getting the 1 round, I'm not going to give you a snowball's chance. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think as well, like, the way that afterplant was actually played by Liquid, I do wonder if they had sort of spotted that there was a res in play, so they basically didn't give them a chance to turn that into a 3v2. They just played more aggressively, more in the face to just go, okay, we have the better weapons. They haven't had a chance to cross and pick any of them up, so let's just deny them to get back into the site. It's arguably the closest round that we've had, other than the one that they actually managed to win. And well, hey, if they get to 4, I would give them at least a hope in hell, but right now it just doesn't look like that's going to be possible. Yumpy again is going to go searching for the opener. A lot of stars placed to potentially try drag him in, stun him before he can get anything done. Now they do have Cam currently sat back, and he's actually not going to connect the shot. The first time I think I've said that all game.
You know, they even get the cam activated, spot them out, and Liquid, they played this one cautiously at the start. Oh, the TP! It's going to be spotted, it's going to be destroyed and dealt with, but they've gotten out the choke point in the meantime. The distraction game, the smokes, the cages, Zistao, good to get one around the edge, but what more can he do with low HP? Not a whole lot, apparently. Hold on, Turco! A double for him, Link's alone! He's spraying away and not connecting, and that's it! The round goes to Oxygen. They only lose the 1 player. Again, I want to point out Liquid. their early approach to that round, they know there's a camera. They start shooting away, trying to destroy it in line. Eventually, they spotted him do. They put a nano swarm down, ensuring there's no player in the corner. They took a very slow approach to the round. It was, what, 1 minute 10, 1 minute 15 when they started to drone out and really look for the site. And that is what I'm talking about when I say this team is not kind of giving up and going, hey, let's just go kill them. They are still coming in pointed. They don't want a 13-10. They want a 13-1. And now at least 2 on the board for Oxygen. That won't be possible.
Yeah, they're still being meticulous, I think it is the best way to put it, but going into the beginning of this round, they've finally been quelled. At least the flood has been stopped for now, but still an awful lot still to do if they're going to make this map competitive. You can see Toronto still going to be lurking around the edge of the smoke. He wants to try and find a fight, give his team a bit of an advantage here. The thing is, the attempts are not really being changed by Liquid. They're still going to go for the early battle in towards the A site. They're still going to try and find the positioning of that cam, and Solcast hoping he can find an entry, but if anything, he's still managed to force them back.
The Molly is going to hit Zistel on his rotate over. A flash comes in, which he dodges and looks to take down Scream. Unfortunately, that's an achievement that not many will manage all too easily. Mitez going to find that out the hard way as well. He pops up like whack-a-mole. And unfortunately, this one bites back. 3 versus 3. That's exactly what Liquid needed. And Oxygen, they slip up a little bit. The first kill fine, but Mitez up above. That's the man advantage back out of their hands, as the retake will be mounted with lots of utility coming through. Link catches out Toronto on short, and now it's only the players up above. A wall to grant them vision far and wide, and pop a res onto Mitez. How much is that going to really net for them? They've got to win these duels. The shock darts. Is that a double bounce vertical shock dart? Doesn't look like it'll come into play anyways. Jonas has sat there. I'd say with how quickly these rounds are going, he's like, oh guys, yeah, they're going to use my cool shock dart. Oh, the round's over. Never mind.
Well, I think Scream even kills the player rezzed through the wood as well. So if there was any chance, he just denied it with the spam. Again, another solid take. And I do love the way that even if they're not finding the opener necessarily, and a lot of the kills they're getting, they're using those ultimates to just force really awkward positions for the players of Oxygen. They've not really looked comfortable throughout this series, just in the manner of how meticulous Liquid are currently being. Again, they're not allowing a lot of this A-site aggression, which is something, even in the pistol round, we saw attempted by Oxygen. They've denied the pressure that they try and put into mid. The aggressive B takes have normally ended in a dead player. If anything, we're just talking about how Liquid have had such a solid default that Oxygen are almost forced back into their shell, and they're still going to go running through. At this stage of the game, you almost have to expect someone to be here.
Well, this is it. All the pressure made over on the A site. 3 players spotted there. They're making a lot of noise. They think, you know what? In a couple of these rounds, Liquid have gone very direct. They've gone 5 players through A long. They've done it twice, I think, at this point. And so I guess they take their chances, right? Roll the dice and try to get the early flank like we'd seen them do down middle, albeit unsuccessfully over in an eco round. This is it's a heartbreaking situation, but 3 on the board. Wrong. It's essential. Yep.
Oh, okay. All right, Toronto. Maybe they didn't get it wrong. I was thinking they've stacked their players on the other side of the map. They rotated everyone onto A after the pick went in the other direction. They left Toronto to try and be that raid boss, that one defender of this site. And now they've got to be careful. The tag through onto Zisto has just pulled this one apart. Turco tries to get back into the site on his own, and Mitez is just a little bit too far behind. He's left into a 1v2, Mitch, and they desperately need a third.
Oh, they do so badly. Cryptix and Solcus just grouped up on the side as well. This is a really tough one to make work. He's going to pull his stars back, but he has to wait a while before he can even use them. And with the Cosmic Divide for backside, they know where he is. With that alarm bot, there's no way. There's 2 players stacked on top of each other. He can't isolate the fight. He can't take them both down. You'd even have to jump out to face them perfectly. Unlucky. 10-2. Oxygen. Well, I said I couldn't possibly believe in them if they had 1 Tom. I'll be honest, not much has changed with a 2nd on the board. But it was such a valiant attempt by Toronto, and I think he had to go aggressive there. When they popped that lockdown into play, falling back towards spawn, playing the retake, it was a decision. Sure, it's feasible, but on his way, he was likely to be caught anyways if they pushed on through, and being the only player there, he wanted to make that hero play. but it definitely didn't work.
I think as well, the initial read just comes out because most rounds have ended on A. Like, Liquid have really been focusing on that side of the map. And I sort of mentioned it earlier, I haven't been massively impressed with Oxygen's attempt at retakes. But it also just seems that Liquid are doing very, very well in their post plant, something that I think that they've definitely worked on coming into like the latter stages of this event. So, yeah, thoroughly impressed with Liquid, but Oxygen, it's one hell of a mountain to climb. A map down, 8 rounds behind, and only 3 for Liquid to take themselves through to Iceland. There's going to be a mid-take, the spike rotating in towards B, where we do see a fair amount of the utility, and also Scream and Yumpy. So, again, it looks like the read is almost too solid for the side of Liquid.
Yeah, any of these things on their own, utility in a pistol round's always scary. The turret even can do quite a considerable amount of damage. And then you look at the fact that not only is it that, it's Scream, it's Yampy, again, on their own, very dangerous foes. Zistow, he's lurking outside of A. This hasn't actually spotted him on the recon, so he might try to make a sneaky play on through, while the rest of the team is distracting on B and pick up the rotates. Scream is the first to eliminate Toronto, the molly to slow them, the smoke to block them, and now this is where you would imagine Zistow makes a big play, but no, it's not to be, and Liquid, they just tear them apart. Zistow was caught out rotating the long way around. I guess he'd been tagged up in an earlier fight off screen with Link, because he's now on 49 HP. And, well, yeah, he gets 1 kill, but there's 3 more to go, and they've just blocked him out completely. Closed the door right in his face.
They definitely know where he is, that's for sure. He's just going to walk straight into a crossfire. Again, I have to say, Liquid just look like they've got every single thing planned. Like, they're reading things off a script at this stage. Like, Oxygen have just not been able to pull any wool over their eyes, even with like small attempted fakes in this round. Liquid just didn't budge. They didn't move a single player. They just left everybody on that B site knowing that this is where the play was going to come in, and hey, you have to give props to them that they're just prepared by the looks of it. And while 11-2, no surprise that we're at least going to see some sort of investment here from Oxygen, but actually by the looks of it, I think they're going to play for overtime, which I guess there's no good solution here, but I'm surprised. I thought we would have seen a force.
Well, at least it tells you mentally this team is not broken. They may have just secured a total of 3 rounds so far in this series and be on the verge of losing their potential spot over in Iceland, but they're not going to just count themselves out. They're willing to fight all the way, believe in the game plan. But sometimes you need a lot more than a game plan, and right now you're seeing them being torn apart as expected. Again, they're not really investing into this one, but it's not a pretty sight when they only get the 1 kill. 12-2. Liquid, they can do what they want. They can play this as a bonus. They can invest up. They could try to play a 5v5 knife fight. It doesn't much matter because they've got so much room to maneuver. 10 rounds in a row needed for Oxygen to pull this one back.
I would never predicted this. Whether you believe that Liquid were going to come through all the way from Europe to make it through to this stage to fight for EMEA, whether you believe that they had a chance versus FPX, a team that we've expected to be one of the best teams within maybe even the world. Like, we wanted to see them fight Iceland. I don't think there's anyone who didn't. I don't believe anybody expected that over 2 maps we were going to see Oxygen get maybe only 2 rounds. Like, that was just not plausible at all. Yumpy, again, is already going to kick things off as Glove is down and out. He will have to watch from the sidelines and hope that his team can help them survive a little bit longer. As now we're going to see some utility expended. Toronto trying to sneak his way through. Scream pulled off the angle, but there's still a player lurking within the smoke. Mitez has been able to find one at least, and Link is going to be there to trade. This is looking like a better round from Oxygen, but there's Soulcast to put another in the dirt.
Yeah, see, the thing is, it's so close even when there's weaker weapons in play. That's the scary thing. Liquid able to pull it back now and get 2 Vandals for what could be a retake if they don't just go out for the fights right away. Mitez, oh, he swings out for more. 3 kills on the board. That's what we needed. Oxygen now have the advantage, and with Scream, 30 HP, hey, he's a Phoenix. Hot hands, wall, he can heal, but he's already used those. So instead, he's left now with virtually no health, no ultimate to get him some sort of an advantage to pull back into the round. This was a bonus. This was a weaker buy for a lot of the Liquid guys. And he's got... There's no way he goes in with an operator. There's no way. He's out of here. He's bailing down the mid. I could see it, though. 12-2 up, you're like, now I can one-shot them.
There was a part of me that was like, is he going to try and end this in style? Is he going to try and be the screaming team once again? Something that I think is clear to see from today is nowhere near the case anymore. He is a part of a system, a pretty important piece. But yeah, not going to do it this time. They are making sure that there is no way that Oxygen get back into this. At least a shining light, something for Oxygen to get behind. We've not seen anywhere near the best of this roster today. Like, I don't want to sit here and say like we've seen something like, oh yeah, you know, Europe, they're the better, blah blah blah. I don't care. Like, we have seen that this Oxygen side are a strong roster. Today, they've been outclassed. But if Liquid give them an opening, if Liquid give them a way back in, they can build up some momentum. Hey, I'm not going to call the comeback, but it is possible.
I mean, we can't say enough that this is the team that beat FPX 13-7 and 13-5. They dismantled them. Liquid have been looking damn good recently. We said after just... Oh, no, Zistow. Oh, no. That Phoenix Molly is so good, and we've seen that used in North America even just yesterday for some massive plays. And here it is again. Man, Oxygen traded out. 4v4 rather, but Mitez has got low HP, goes up against the operator. Hey, it's better fight for him to take, I suppose, but the first bullet does hit and it takes him down. Man advantage now to play with defenders not having a bunch of control. Look at this massive gap over towards Short and Garden. Those guys can push on through and get a lot. The window's still closed though, so wrapping into spawn was pretty much the only option without giving away a lot of information and making a lot of noise. And of course, that player you're seeing on the radar is down below. So when they break it, they're not going to see him. They have to jump down, and Link is hearing it. He's communicating to his teammates. This is where he has an option for another massive play. He did it in the previous map. There's the first, but he's now being spotted. The wall bangs are dangerous from above and beside. And still oh no, Yerpy! That timing is perfect. He's looking to close it out here, and now with the knives, not going to get it done. Toronto running away with knife in hand, but he runs right into the waiting arms of Solkas. That is the game.